Hello, my friends. Welcome back to the YouTube. This is an important video. This is gonna mark the beginning of this prep series. I'm not gonna give it a tagline. I'm not gonna be like the rest of the industry. So it's just gonna be the prep series. So get involved. This will be episode 1. What we're gonna do here is kind of set out the stall, explain my choices, explain what I've decided to do and why. I guess explain what it means, explain the difference between this year and last year, what I hope to do better, what I learned from last year, maybe what you can learn during this journey. And I guess what I think will make the difference this year versus last year, which is quite a lot. And we'll also compare sort of start points from this prep to last. But we're officially in prep. I have started. I didn't really tell anyone, but I have started prep. Food's come down. Expenditure's gone up slightly, and we now are moving towards that first show, which at the moment is undecided. So I'm not going to be announcing that show just yet because it's going to be a push to get ready for it. But there are some shows that are sort of dead set in my mind, or dead set in my mind that I want to do. So we'll be aiming for those, and if it so happens that we can be ready early, then we will jump in. So as it stands, I am definitely 22 weeks out. Well, not definitely. I hope I'm 22 weeks out, which I will find out in the next 10 days from the Ifbb, from Two Bros. And that really is what I set my sights on last year, which is the Arnolds. A little bit of a backstory. I actually got invited to the Arnolds last year within the men's physique category. Unfortunately, my prep totally misaligned with that. I prepped for May and June shows. I finished my prep at the start of July, and then obviously the Arnolds was at the end of September. That would have meant some pretty big detriments to my health, I believe, mostly mental, to be honest, at that stage, but also physical. There was no way I was ready to carry on that prep. It might have meant having like an 8-week break, a pretty controlled 8-week break, and then going back into a prep, which for me, I just couldn't really fathom doing that at the time. I'm sure people are aware when you get to the end of prep, it's just about the last thing you want to carry on doing, or at least it was for me. But I obviously attended the Arnolds. I sat there and I watched the guys on stage. I watched the whole show, and it just blew me away. I was sat next to Callum at the time, and all I could think about throughout was like, I want to be on that stage next year. So I've done everything I can with regards to sort of rapport building with Two Bros and the Ifbb. So obviously the application is in. I've explained to them the reasons why I wasn't able to do it last year. And I hope they have some mercy and invite me along, because I've not competed on UK soil as a pro. The last time I competed on UK soil was before I won my pro card in Watford in 2019. And just having people in the crowd, familiar faces, family members, friends, supporters, whatever, followers even at this point, it's just such a big boost. And that's something I'm probably going to touch on as we go through this video. So that will be ideally the last show of the year. There's one more after that I could potentially look to do. But again, when you get to the end and sort of latter stages of prepping, I learned this last year, once you've done 2-3 shows, and depending on how they've gone, everything changes. If you're a few points away from the Olympia, then you'd be stupid not to jump into another one. If you're not anywhere near, it's kind of stupid to carry on, because you're just extending your poor health and sort of suboptimal living conditions, as it were. So there's two sides of the spectrum. Obviously, the great thing is you might have qualified before, so a few things to consider. But the plan is definitely set. I want to do the Arnolds. I've been very vocal about that, and that is my dream this year, to stand on that stage in a pair of classic physique pants and hit the poses that I seem to default to all the time. So that's mission number 1. Slightly before that, me and Cal had a bit of a discussion around, it seems reckless to jump into my first ever classic physique show on the Arnold stage. It's going to be the hardest show I've ever done in terms of the other competitors. So why would I do that first? Like, I've never done classic physique posing on a stage before. I need to build up some experience and get comfortable with it first. So we will jump into one 2 weeks before. So there's one in Italy, in Rome, I believe. I think it'll probably be called the Yamamoto Nutrition Cup. That show, I don't believe, will be any easier either. The thing is, with the US and Europe, because there are more limited shows, the ones that are in Europe tend to be really busy. You get all the European athletes that want to qualify for the Olympia, and then you get some US ones as well. So that will not be easy at all. But a bit closer to home, not so far away to go, which should mean less stress. Again, hopefully a bit more company while I'm there. So excited for that. That could potentially be the first show of the season. And then we've earmarked a few more in the month the month before that, so the weeks leading up to Italy, which again, I would love to do. These ones are in the States, and I would love to go there and hit the classic physique class. Some of the things I learned last year from competing in men's physique in the States were that the men's physique classes are just absolutely stacked. And I think what I quite quickly realised was that I'm not an outstanding men's physique athlete in the pro ranks. And I didn't believe that there was huge improvements I could make to my physique that would make me an Olympia athlete when it comes to men's physique. The classes are absolutely stacked. The style of men's physique, I think I'd sort of gone off. I learned a lot about the posing and what they do in men's physique in the pro league, and it almost becomes a bit more of a performance, which is not something I was ever very comfortable with. Prefer to sort of let the physique do the talking, which also didn't happen. That's kind of some of the reasons why I looked to classic physique. It's always been something that I've sort of aspired to. You know, you can't go through my page and not notice the fact I'm not hitting men's physique poses as often I am classic or bodybuilding poses. And there seems to be, for me, just like a higher level of achievement that comes with classic physique. Men's physique, having done it for so long, I don't take away from any work that I did or any work that any men's physique athlete does, especially the best in the world and the people that are striving to be the best in the world. It is just as hard. There's no doubt about that. Once you get to single digit body fat levels, I don't care what anyone says, whether you're eating 2,000 calories, 1,500 calories, 3,000 calories, it all feels like shit. The truth is that the men's physique athletes that do the best are also most often the most peeled. So it probably means if you did pull their shorts off, you'd see shredded glutes and shredded quads. Just because they don't need it doesn't mean they don't have to get to those levels to bring their upper body in. So I don't take anything away from men's physique at all. But for me, the fact that you are covering up such an important part of your body, a part of your body that I've spent years trying to grow as well, there's something less complete about that final package, and that's something that I've always wanted to experience. So that, combined with the fact that I think it's where my physique belongs. I think of a lot of the poses, this was clear for me last year as well. Front double biceps, back double biceps, maybe some of my stronger poses, and obviously two that never occur in men's physique. And instead I've got these relaxed poses whereby I just don't think I fit into them poses as well as I'd like. And I think that was sort of holding me back. Front relaxed, rear relaxed, definitely weaker poses. You know, and you add all these other ones into the mix from classic physique, and I think suddenly I've got a better chance of doing well. And I touched on the numbers as well. So obviously every men's physique show I did last year, there was at least 20 guys in there. And then you go and watch the classic guys are on before or after, and we're talking single digits. So I do believe it's less competitive. I think with classic physique, there's a level of you either have it or you don't. Probably similar with men's physique, but men's physique's a bit more subjective, I believe. Whereas classic physique, like some people just have classic physique lines. They just have physiques that fit into that class, and providing they come in condition and with enough muscle, like they're going to do well. We've seen that across the Olympia, we've seen that across some top shows. You look at the German guy, the Miracle Bear, young guy, not the most heavily muscled, but he's up there with the top 5 in the world, beating other people that are much larger than him, maybe even better conditioned than him, maybe not. But you get the message. I think there's a certain shape for classic physique, and I do think it's something that I've got. So I guess we'll see on that one. And then in terms of sort of last year, what went well, what went wrong? To be fair, a lot of it didn't go well. We obviously started prep in lockdown, which wasn't ever the plan. Myself, Tom and Josh had quite good plans to get a lot of content together, train together, push each other through that whole prep, and obviously that never ended up happening. We were not only on different timelines, but we then had to train in different gyms, different parts of the country entirely, under strict restrictions in terms of I had somewhere to train, and I'm very, very grateful to that gym for letting me in, but I was in there with 4 or 5 other people. It wasn't the greatest atmosphere that I wanted and needed to sort of carry me through that prep. In those times where it starts getting hard and you've got no support, you've got no spot, you've got no one to bounce off of. There might not be a lot of bouncing going on when you're low on calories, but I'm absolutely dead certain that myself and Josh will benefit from doing this prep together massively. I think almost more than we can imagine. It's obviously relatively calm and easy at the moment, but as time goes on and as things get hard, just to have someone there just to talk to and almost moan at, if you like, let alone train with, do cardio with, if it happens like that way, it's going to be invaluable. So that I think will directly correlate to how I move through this prep and how my physique changes. We then have the whole traveling thing. So again, not easy last year, lots of restrictions, lots of tests needed doing. I actually had to divert to Dubai for 2 weeks, so a whole 2 weeks in that last month where I was out of my comfort zone already. All these things led to a really high stress situation for me in terms of prep, and none of that is going to be there this year, I don't believe. You know, I'm going to be in my usual gyms, I'm going to be able to do cardio where I want, I'm going to be able to go home to my parents if I'm feeling like a bit Groundhog Day, where I can still control my environment, but I just get a bit of company. And that is, I honestly think that is invaluable when it comes to prep. And then yeah, when it comes to traveling to the shows, as I said, a few in America I'd love to do. We're more well connected now, I believe, over there in terms of contacts. It's not going to be such an unknown. And of course, company, as I said so many times. So last year, obviously, I had Louis come out with me for the first show. He then had to leave, and then I was on my own for the next 2. And I think all that the whole of prep just sort of crumbled around me. And that definitely showed in my physique as time went on, which is a shame, because really, I definitely think after that first show, your physique should get a little better, and it just didn't. So I'm really excited to sort of embark on this prep and I guess redeem myself. My feelings going into this prep are ones of no pressure. I don't feel the need to perform. I don't feel the need to prove myself. I've got a blank canvas. I've never ever done classic physique before, so I know I'm jumping in right at the deep end to be jumping in with classic physique pros. But I honestly believe I have something in classic physique, and I'm looking forward to proving that to myself, I guess, more than anyone else. There's obviously people I want to make proud, myself mostly, but the people around me, the people that have invested in this journey alongside me, particularly Cal. I know that he's super invested in this. And of course, I'm excited to compete. I'm always excited to compete. There's been a lot of questions around how I've been feeling about the start of this prep, and honestly, asked me 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, would have been a different answer today. But as we've started now, we're in it. I actually asked Cal if we could start early, because I was no good at maintaining and just sort of floating through the maintenance phase. I wanted to get in and get cracking with a goal. So I feel excited, and I don't doubt that as things change, I'm only going to get more and more excited for this process and sort of love the suck again. So this is episode 1. I hope that gave you a nice rundown of the choices and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I look forward to taking you along with the journey. Peace out.